over here on the bench. We need to take this connector off and put it on our new filter, and then fill this new filter up with fuel before we install it. That way we can give it just a little bit of a head start, or we could just prime it. That way we don't have any air in the system when we start the tractor up. So this is our probe. Looks like it's got a little bit of dirt in there, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that out. I don't know if you can see that. There's dirt on here. So we'll clean that out as best we can before we put this on the new filter. And there is like a rubber gasket on that. Let's see what's on this one. Again, we'll make sure the parts match right up with each other. Right there. Looks like they do. This does not have a gasket on the top. So I'm kind of wondering, do I need to... There's nothing in here. That's interesting. Okay, well, looks like... Grab an all in. Take this off. This should have came with something. Doesn't look like it's anything there. Alright, well. Hopefully this will come out without any issues. Just a gasket. Okay, so I'll just clean this gasket up a little bit. Put it on here. Actually, I think it belongs on this switch. Let's do that. Put it on here. Carefully install this so we don't rip it or puncture it. And I think for the most part we just need to get it in place, and then when this thing screws down it'll do the rest for us. But it's important to make sure that we don't trash this, because I don't have another one. This filter didn't come with one. I guess next time I do this I will look in the parts manual and get a new one to put on this. So, alright, now we're just going to screw it in. There it goes, I felt it seat down. Okay, and now we're going to fill this thing with fuel and install it back on the tractor, and hopefully this thing will be clocked correctly for our switch, and hopefully it won't leak. And also, let's see, we have instructions. Easy. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and do that. filter with fuel. And the instructions say to fill it with fuel, lubricate the O-ring, which I did, put a little bit of oil on there, and when you install it, you need to spin it 270 degrees, start it up, and then check for leaks. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I think this is one of the times where I think to myself, maybe I should have removed the loader, but that's okay. I think we'll be all right. We'll manage. So I just seen something. There was a mark on the filter, and I was going to use that for the 270. But I think, oh, there it is. There's the green mark right there. And I think we're hanging, so I'm going to go right here and go 270 from that. So it's probably going to be under here, and I'm not going to see it, if that's what they really want. Yeah, that instruction does not make any sense. Okay, we're already 360. So that's interesting. I'm going to ignore that 270 and just tighten it until I see it's fit. Now, let's go ahead and we'll remove this. I haven't tightened it down all the way yet. What I'm going to do is pump a little bit of fuel in here, maybe. I can hear the fuel going into the filter. There. And I am full. I know that for a fact. So I pushed down on it till I couldn't hear anything anymore, and you'll hear the fuel get into the filter, which is pretty cool. So right now I'm kind of pushing fuel out, and what I'm going to do is clean all that up before I fire the tractor up, and make sure everything's hunky-dory with this thing. And that way I can also spot the leaks right off the bat. Now mind you, I'm tightening with my fingers right now. So we'll make sure it's good. And before I continue here, now I'm going to have to reclock this. The plug will fit in here the way it is. Let me see, if I twist it this way, it'll be okay. I can twist it that way, it'll be okay. It's pretty tight. So let me see if I can screw this up just a little more. Okay. Well, nothing's coming out, so I guess that's a good sign. So now I'm going to hook my plug back up. If I can see it. Clip goes to the outside. You're plugged in. So we'll fire it up, make sure it's good to go. Then our fuel system should be done. Then we'll move on to engine oil. Alright, the hard part's over. Did the transmission fluid, the 2 filters, refilled the transmission, did the 2 fuel filters, and those need to be done separately. I think one of the manuals say don't change them at the same time, and that's true. You do one, start it up, make sure there's no air in the system, shut it down, do the other one, start it up, make sure there's no air in the system, run it for a while, increase the speed a little bit. That's what I did, made sure everything was running hunky-dory. Now we go to the easy stuff, which is engine oil filter, and of course the front diff. We'll do that right now. Alright, first thing we're going to do, get a 7/8 socket and unscrew both of these drain plugs.
Okay.
And of course, they are extremely tight.
That's tight.
Wow, there's no reason for them to be this tight, but they're not going to go on this tight when I'm done. Oh, wow.
Okay, Daddy. Daddy?
Yes, I'm working really hard on it, Grayson.
Huh?
I'm working on it, Grayson.
Wow. What are you doing, Daddy?
Oh, trying to break this loose because it is just ridiculously tight.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Daddy?
All right.
What are you doing?
Wow. Okay, I'm going to have to get a half-inch drive and a breaker bar. Can't believe this. Let's go over there, Grayson. Don't bump your head. Hold on, buddy. Hey, can I lie down right there?
Yeah.
I want to lie down right here. Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Daddy. I can walk for this second and walk.
Whew. My goodness. Yeah. All right.
Come on, good. This one.
Let's undo these plugs. Oops. Let me give it a little more. No reason for these plugs to be that tight. No reason. Oh. Get a ratchet.
I got this.
Yep. Yeah, hold on, bud. You're kind of pushing me out of the way there. Oh.
What is this?
That's my tool. Oh. All right, there's one plug.
This one does.
Can I have my tool back, Grayson?
Oh, yes, please. I do for almost thinking that.
Okay. Don't touch that. That's yucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I can walk.
Let me see the wrench, please. Thank you.
Wait, what is this?
Hey, no, don't touch. I said. That's
Dirty?
yucky. Yes. It's full of oil.
A good wheel?
Yeah. It's full of oil. Hey, get back, please. I don't want you to get dirty here.
That's wheels.
Ugh. There we go. That, I'm pretty sure, is 1540. There is no way that is 10.
Yeah.
So, 1540 it is.
You done?
Excellent. So we're just going to let this drain for a little bit. Cool?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to search it.
1.8 gallons
It's
of...
the cheese good. It's the sauce.
Okay. Okay. Watch your head, Grayson.
Okay.
Don't bonk your head. Bring those tools. Don't bonk your head, buddy. Careful. No, don't get up yet. There you go. All right, now you get up. Let's go. All right, so we are at the last filter of this 50 hour. I'm going to go ahead and try my dinky little filter wrench first. Let's see if I can do this without knocking the camera over. Let's see. Challenges here. All right. Let's see if I can do this. One-handed, of course. Oh yeah, look at that. Holy cow. I'm really surprised. I am really surprised that that thing broke loose as easy as it did. Maybe because it must have been a Friday and someone just wasn't feeling strong that day before leaving for the weekend. And they just didn't decide to put 120 foot-pounds of torque on this filter. And that's okay with me. So, alright. That is just it's the easiest filter I think I've done on this thing. My goodness. Okay. Of course, get the buckets in place just in case something decides to come out and make a mess, which it did. Alright, scoot that over. There we go. I'm just pleasantly surprised. My goodness. There it is, folks. Your Mahindra oil filter for the 2638. Came off super duper easy. So as always, we're going to match parts, clean up our mess, make sure things are good to go and lubricated. And I'm going to fill the new filter up with 1540 because I can tell right now this is 1540 oil. And we're going to continuing on. Alright, so just wanted to show you all something. I went and cleaned these plugs up, hit it with alcohol and an air compressor, knocked a lot of the gunk off. What I did notice, there's this yellow, like hard plastic stuff, like this. Looks like dried up eggs all over this thing in different weird places. So I went and took a pick or an awl and knocked all that stuff off because I don't want that stuff getting loose in the engine. But it was right here on this corner, and I think another one was right here on this corner. And I don't know what they do with that. I don't know why it's on there. I don't know the whole production process as to why they put that stuff on there, but I took it off. And if you see it, I'd probably take it off too, or you should, because I don't think you want that stuff running around in your engine if it does get knocked loose. Okay, so here is our old filter. Over here is our new filter, and we're just going to go ahead and match them up. Make sure everything's hunky-dory. Make sure we got the right one. I'm sure it is. But there it is. Those look pretty similar. Those look about the same size. So I'm going to fill this up with oil, spin it on to our engine, and then put these plugs in. And I won't be torquing them as tight as they were. And then fill this puppy up with our diesel oil. I'm going to let the oil in the filter settle for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put these caps or these plugs back in. Clean them up really good. I will not be torquing them, like I said, like they were when I initially pulled them off. But I did clean off my plugs and my copper O-rings or gaskets, and cleaned off that mystery yellow gunk that was on them. And now we're going to go ahead and put these plugs back in one at a time. And then when we're done there, we'll go ahead and put our filters on. There we go. Go ahead and clean this up really quick. And and I'll torque them down. Ooh, these are good magnets. Good thing about this is we know it'll catch metal particles. Alright, here we go, if we ever get them. Okay, that's good. Good there. Okay. So now we can put our filter in and fill it with oil. As usual, I'm just going to leave this right here to catch any fluid that is coming down still. Alright. Alright, go ahead and get this filter on. I did put oil in it just to help with the lubrication. And go ahead and screw this on. Access to this thing is just, it's not too bad, but it could be better. And I really don't think removing the loader for this would have helped anything. It's still, this is still in the way. So we'll get this on here. Okay. I'm going to change my gloves, get some good grip on here. And we'll just go ahead and finish tightening this thing. Maybe a little more. Let's keep going. There we go. Alright. Works for me. Let's see. Cause leakage. Mounting filler. Okay, good. And now we're going to fill it with oil and check for leaks. It's going to be great. Once we get this thing to the appropriate level, of course we'll crank it up, check for leaks as usual, and then check the oil again and get it where we want it. Fun little fact about this tractor, there's 2 O-rings on this filler cap, and it's really not seating very well. So I guess I'm just going to have to take a little mallet to it and knock it down. There we go, like so. Who would have thought? Alrighty, so I did the initial engine run on it after the oil change. I did fill it up to this mark here on the dipstick. That'll be the second indentation. And then I started it up. I ran it for about 5 minutes. Went around, checked for leaks on all the filters and all the plugs. Everything looked good. Shut it down. Let the engine rest for 5 or 10 minutes just to get that oil back down into the tank, and I needed just to give it a little bit more oil, so I did. And right now it's going to go ahead and do the final oil level check on it before I move on to the front diff, front axle, and well, it's maybe a little hard to see, but it's just right there around that second indentation. That's where we want it. So oil's good on the engine. Last thing to do on this is the front diff. Dump all the fluid in that and then fill her back up. So we'll get moving on that. E90 fluid But we'll get this old stuff out, get the good stuff back in. And I'll clean this up real quick. Leave that plug there, let this drain, and we'll work on these over here. Get these drained out, and then fill everything up. These, I think they're 12 millimeter plugs on both sides. I can't break them loose. I started to really torque on them, and it almost started to round out one of these sides, one of the flats. So I decided not to pull these right now. I'm probably going to come back later once I find the appropriate tool where I can get a better bite on all four sides and pop it loose that way. But right now I'm just going to have to do without replacing the fluid in these. I'll probably come back to this here in a couple weeks or so. I probably will drain all this again and get these loose, because I really would like to change these. And if there is going to be any metal, it's going to be probably in these. So for now, I'm going to put the plug in for the front drive line, fill it up to the appropriate level, and then do the greasing and clean the air filter. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take care of that today until I get the right tool. So just something to be aware of with these Mahindras is these plugs are going to be pretty tight, and make sure you got the right stuff ahead of time. All right, so I filled it back up with fluid. Got the dipstick right where I want it, to where it is serviced. On that second tack mark, or on that second ring, I guess. Let me check it one more time. Yeah, that'll do it. Awesome. So now we'll just clean out the air filter and go around and service all the grease points. All right, getting close to the end here. Filters are pretty easy. All you have to do is undo a couple buckles here and there, and I do this quite often, especially after I've run the tractor in a lot of dust. I guess my boy wants back in the garage. Oh, come on. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Get this thing off. All right. Oh, yeah, pretty dirty. And some people just buy new ones, but I don't think I'm at that point yet. So here's your outer filter. Here's the inner filter. And when you do a replacement on these, you just buy both, take them out of the package, and call it good. But in this case, from my experience, these inners don't really get too dirty. The outers is what take most of it. And what I'll do is I'll just get an air nozzle and blow out from the inside. Blow as much dust out as I possibly can. I'll also clean this out. Take this off, clean this out, and that'll pretty much cover the service for this. Then I'll put it back on. So let me go ahead and get that done, and we'll get back. We'll come back when I'm putting this back in the tractor. Alright, so I just cleaned the air filters blew them out. This is probably like the 5th or 6th time I've done this in 50 hours. Actually, I only have like 40 some hours on this tractor, 45. So I did do this 50 hour a little early. I figure I'd get it done now. So here are these 2 filters. I did forget to mention that I did wipe the inside of this out to get most of the gunk off, but for the most part you just replace these filters on condition. I wouldn't replace them every 50 hours, that's for sure, because they really don't get that bad a shape, but definitely clean them. If not daily, if you're running it in dusty environments, definitely clean them every couple uses, I guess. But for this filter, of course the inner goes first. There's a little hole that slides into, and then the outer just slides over that. And then you just push them 2 together to where they are mated up against the canister. There goes my light. Oh, there we go. Maybe I'll put it over here. That's what I'll do. Yeah. Or I'll just put it. Let me do this. Sorry. I have these little issues here. Alright. There we go. And squeeze them in until they seat properly. And then we put the cap back on. The cap I blew out, as well as I forgot what this is called, but anyway, I blew it out. Also keep in mind this says top, so try to put that to the top. Cool. And that should take care of that. But let me put this on real quick. There we go. Top is the top. There we go. Let me show you a little closer angle of this. So you can see that it's pretty easy clip. Just remember that this cap needs to seat fully onto this housing. If not, you're not going to be able to get these fastened in, and they should just snap in just like that. And then I just have one more to do, and then we should be done with the filter. And the whole purpose of taking this band off here is so you can move the filter around the housing to get everything back on. So pretty easy to do, and like I say, if you're running it all the time, the filter cleaning should happen often, and probably at a higher volume if you're operating in dusty conditions. So yeah, band's on, clamps are on, filter's good. Now it's time to go around and grease the tractor. One of my favorite things to do, and I do it often sometimes. Alright folks, that's it for my 50 hour on this tractor. We'll do a little recap. We drained the transmission fluid. What else did we do? Changed our suction filter. We changed our HST filter, a hydraulic filter. We also changed our canister filter for fuel. Let's see, what else? We changed our oil filter, and we also changed our other filter for fuel, and we drained the oil out of the engine, replaced that. We drained the oil from our front axle. Wasn't able to do the, I think they're called like a final drive, because I couldn't get the plugs off, so I'll be getting back to that. And replenished it with 80-90 oil. Also went through, I didn't show you because I figured it was kind of like easy stuff anyway. I went through and greased every Zerk fitting that we had. We also, instead of replacing the air filter, just went ahead and cleaned it. That's what I've been doing pretty much on a weekly basis or daily, depending on how hard I'm using this tractor or the dusty conditions I'm in. But that kind of thing is like a change on condition thing. Went and ran it. Runs pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put it back together. I think next time, lessons learned, I probably will go to a cheaper oil. The oil from Mahindra is kind of expensive, but that's kind of what they recommend. But I think on the next go around, I am going to shop around a little bit and get a better deal on the filter packages and a better deal on the oil, and just keep this thing running, greased up. I hope this video helps you guys who are at home doing your own work. This does save a lot of money, and it helps you know your equipment a little bit better. That's, I think, something that a lot of people have gotten away from, is always sending it to a dealer or somebody else to fix your stuff. You never know what's going on with your tractor. At least if you do it on your own, you know you did the job, you know you did it right, at least to your knowledge, and you did save yourself some money by having someone else do it, or stop, like not having someone else do it. I think the best takeaway though is you get to know your tractor pretty stinking well when you're going through everything and working the process. The other thing I did leave out, which I would highly recommend if you haven't done so on your first 5 hours, is to go through on your tractor and basically tighten every bolt that you can think of, that you see. This one has been gone through a couple times, I think once by the dealer and a couple times by me. I just go through and tighten it as I go. A lot of these bolts have torque marks on them where they've gone through and checked them, and then they'll mark the bolt. And that's a good practice to do. Other than that, pretty much it for the 50 hour. It does take some time. Yeah, a little longer than I expected, but the next time I do this, it's going to go by pretty quick. There was a lot of learning to do and a lot of figuring out as far as how I'm going to take care of certain things like the oil and the filters. But once you figure out the sequence, do things in a certain order, everything works out pretty well. The other thing I'd like to add is you might still get a little residual fluid here and there. Just be on the lookout for that. Seeping out of the oil gaskets or whatever. Eventually it'll dry out, I hope. I haven't had any issues yet, but usually where there has been oil on a case where I can't get my fingers on it to wipe it up, it's going to come down eventually, and hopefully it'll just dry out or evaporate and be done with it. Anyway, that's all I got. Hope you all enjoyed it and learned something, and keep a lookout for more videos. Thanks.